Before we begin, please like and subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to hear will make you see American politics in a way that few have the courage to show. You know that old saying that those in power always act for the good of the people? Well, not always. Sometimes, behind the banner of security, lies the seed of control. And that's exactly what ignited the conflict between Trump and the state of Illinois. Imagine waking up to the news that federal troops might invade your city to protect it. Sounds like a movie, right? But it happened. On one side, a president promising to restore order. On the other, an entire state shouting that it didn't need to be saved by force. It is in this clash between authority and freedom that the real story begins. And what lies behind it goes far beyond politics. It speaks of fear, power, and even what it means to live in a truly free country. Tension between the federal government and the states. It's curious how power always balances on a tightrope between those who command and those who obey. When the federal government tries to impose its will on a state, history repeats itself like an echo of ancient times, the struggle between authority and autonomy. Illinois was not the first, nor will it be the last, to say no to Washington. From the Civil War to the present day, this dispute reveals something profound: the fear of losing control over one's own backyard. And when control slips away, pride speaks louder than reason. But look, behind the headlines lies a human dilemma. A president wanting to act, a governor trying to protect his territory, and millions of citizens caught in the middle of this political tug-of-war. It's as if a father and mother were arguing about what's best for their child, and the child, confused, just watched. The city of Chicago, with all its history of resistance and open wounds, has once again become the stage for this old power struggle. If we stop to think about it, this tension reveals a lot about the nature of power. It is never absolute. It is negotiated, contested, disputed. Trump may have the army at his disposal, but Illinois has the law on its side. And when these two worlds collide, what emerges is not just a political crisis. It's a mirror of what happens every time someone tries to impose order where there is fear. And perhaps, just perhaps, this story has even deeper layers than we imagine. The reason behind Trump's decision. When Trump speaks of law and order, he is not merely describing a policy, he is invoking a belief. In his eyes, the chaos in the streets is a personal challenge, almost an affront to authority. For Trump, restoring order is proving that power still has a firm voice and a strong hand. But it's curious. Every time someone tries to impose silence by force, the noise only increases. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The result is always unpredictable. The decision to send the National Guard to Chicago stemmed not only from security concerns, but from a desire to reaffirm a type of leadership that the modern world questions, that of a man who believes authority is gained through fear, not respect. He saw in the violent streets of Chicago a perfect stage to remind the country who's in charge. But in doing so, he ignited a spark in Illinois that quickly turned into a legal conflagration. And this is where the story gains depth. Behind the politics, there's something more instinctive: the fear of losing control. When a leader feels they are losing influence, they act hastily, and haste is the enemy of wisdom. Perhaps what Trump wanted to show the world was strength, but what Illinois saw was invasion. And when power enters uninvited, someone inevitably rises up to stop it. The question is, how far will this dispute go before someone decides to talk instead of confronting? Illinois' response. Illinois responded like someone protecting their own home from an uninvited visitor. The governor didn't see troops. He saw a threat to the state's autonomy. For him, allowing the National Guard to enter would open the door to a dangerous precedent: that Washington can intervene at any moment, under the pretext of protection. And when a local government feels its sovereignty is at stake, Even a simple administrative act becomes a political cry. The courts became the battleground. On one side, the federal government, with its arguments about security and national duty. On the other, Illinois, invoking the Constitution as a shield. This dispute rekindled old wounds in American politics, those that show that the union of the states has always been more fragile than it seems. And behind the fiery speeches, there is a silent fear that military intervention will become commonplace, and the rule of law a mere memory. Politically, the act of resistance catapulted Illinois to the center of the national debate. The legal process became a symbol of a larger struggle, not just against Trump, but against the idea that power is imposed by force. And curiously, the more the state resisted, the more support emerged from other regions. It was as if the entire country was watching a new version of an old story. The eternal conflict between those who want to rule and those who choose to resist. But the true impact of this resistance was yet to come. What is really at stake? Behind the legal battle lies something far deeper than a simple political conflict. A struggle for narrative. Trump wants to be remembered as the leader who restored order. Illinois, as the state that defended its freedom. In the end, it's not just about laws or troops, but about who will tell the story in the future. Every word spoken, every headline published, is a piece on the chessboard of public perception, and whoever controls that narrative controls the real power. But there's a blind spot that few realize. When the government and states wage a war of egos, the people become spectators of their own history. Ordinary people who only want security, work, and dignity end up caught in the crossfire of political decisions. While some argue about authority, others face violence in the streets. It's as if the chessboard is full of generals, but without soldiers willing to fight for what really matters. And it is in this context that the future is being shaped. Because what is at stake is not just the autonomy of Illinois, nor Trump's will. It is the balance between force and freedom, between security and democracy. The country is looking in a mirror, and the reflection shows something unsettling. Every time a leader tries to control too much, the people slowly learn to distrust. And perhaps it is this distrust that will open the next page of this story. Ultimately, the big question is, how far does power go when it claims to act for your own good? When the state uses force to protect but ignores dialogue, is it still protection? Or is it control in disguise? How many times in history has fear been used as a tool to justify unpopular decisions? Perhaps what is happening in Illinois is just a reflection of what can happen anywhere in the world. And you, whose side would you be on if your city became the next target of this federal protection? Would you remain silent, believing it's for the greater good, or would you raise your voice to defend your freedom? Think about it, because understanding the power game is the first step to not being played by it. If this content made you think, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Here, we don't repeat headlines. We uncover what's behind them. And the next episode will show you that power never sleeps.